feel free to fill that out in the chat section on the side of the screen. Hi, everybody. I hope that people are having a good day. I hope that it's been a good week so far. I've been really productive. You know, you get that really productive vibe going on? I'm there. And I know I say that a lot because I try to live in that space. But you know, it's important. It's really important that you feel a sense of momentum, that you feel a sense of some degree of accomplishment. And that is our topic for today. So, okay, let's see. I already got people saying stuff. Gary says, I got an amazing package from Canada today. Thanks, at Christopher Rutzman. You're welcome, at Gary Hodges. I guess it's DVSM, but you know, you're welcome. Hey, Philip, how you doing, sir? Chandler the Handler. That's what I should be saying. Okay, so so that's my topic today. Is going to celebrate those moments. Every stream, I know that I talk about, oh, feeling good today, because you got to stay there. You got to live in that place. You got to live in that space where you're like, hey, things are happening. What's happening? Because if you can live in that space instead of living in that woulda, coulda, shoulda, oh, I want to do this and blah, 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 you're going to feel some sense of getting down to business. And at the end of the day, you know, that's kind of where it's at. That's kind of what it's all about in this thing we call Shu. All right, so let me check something. I want to check my ridiculous camera settings. Hey, look at that. That's not bad. How much better does this make it? No, it's way too shined out, isn't it? Okay, we'll get rid of that. So, all right, yeah, that'll work. So, today's page is, I actually did this yesterday. I had to end the stream yesterday because I had to go and get something done. Came home and immediately sat down and did today's page. And, yeah, fun one. It was a fun one. But I was talking to Jim Luan on the phone, and how unfair it would be to have to read this out loud. You know, have to do this as a public, you know, display. So that is never specimen of masculinity as one that has refined taste. It's not fair to give to somebody else to have to read. So, Didi, welcome aboard. How are you? Welcome. Okay, yeah. So today's page is a suggestion made recently by the Kremlinator. On Saturday, my grandson was over, but I'm working in the studio, and I was invited into Josh's stream. And so I was sitting on Josh Kemball's stream, but I had to go because my grandson wanted to grab a bite to eat for lunch, wanted to make some sandwiches with me. He was really excited to make sandwiches. So Josh suggested we make a peanut butter sandwich with sweet pickles. And to try that out because he says it's fantastic. So if anybody out there is bold, try some peanut butter sandwiches with sweet pickles. Of course, I wrote it down as sweat pickles. So that's where today's page came from. Typos, man. They're impotent. So, what do we got? I'm missing a whole bunch of stuff. Oh boy, Gary, you got the mail of the century today. You got stuff from me. He got stuff from Didi in the same time. He's sticking them all over my books. Those are very cool stickers. I got mine up over here. Next time you see it, a studio tour, you'll see Didi stickers up on my drawers over here. My pull bins that are full of paint supplies. So, yeah, we got a good bunch here starting out. This is good fun. So right now I am in the process of setting up Substack. This is my idea for. I've given up on all these other web nonsensey things, and Substack looks like the one that is the easiest manageable for a bozo like me when it comes to the robots. So we're working on that, and I got the new story sneak peek. Ready? There it is. That's the piece that's going up on Substack. Is this comic series? So you got. So today I got some fun stuff. I got a piece of super exciting mail this weekend, and that is my niece Caitlin did a really cool drawing of me, and I think it looks just like me. So it's got a giant head, just like I have a gigantic head. It's got the right hair. There we go. Eyes, 2 of them. Good start. She says the nose isn't right because it's triangular, but I told her I do have a fantastically big nose, so it's fine. Thank you, Caitlin. That was really nice of you. So we've got a couple suggestions to take on this week, but I had promised that today we were finally going to go back and do one of those 500 years from now pages. So I've got the old big old sheet of paper out here. I'll write down which one it is specifically because let's be honest, I have a problem remembering things. So in 500 years, oh, I know what it is now. Scientists will finally discover what came first. The chicken or the chicken. Hold on, let me look that up. Egg. The chicken or the egg. Let's go be sure. Okay, so there's today's page. That's what we're working on. These 500 years later, I've done all as 11/17s. And it's been fun to do them that way. And let's see if this works. Better? Is it flashed? Yeah, much better. Okay. So, yeah, these have been a lot of fun to do. They always involve my Corbell. I'm trying to think of his Corbell Johansson. That's the guy's name. It's the guy that keeps showing up and everything shouting science. So you know he's going to do that here. Just because I likes it, because I wants to. Do I start with Dr. Corbell Johansson or do I start with the chicken? I'm leaning hard into starting with the chicken. Why not, right? How often do you get to start your day with drawing a chicken? Some people it's probably a lot. I've got no judgment. So, yeah, I'm glad that Gary, I glad that you got your stuff. I'm wondering, Jim's due for his next. Here's the test. Since Gary got both his stuff from me in Canada and Didi in Atlanta, see how I did that? I'm wondering if Jim will get his stuff at the same time too. Interesting. We'll just have to find out. Well, either way, I hope you enjoy the stuff there. Gary, got any stickers going already? All right, so I'm going to draw the chicken. Okay, Philip is insomnia. Oh, no. I don't know. Jim Luan says, this is the annual summer meeting of the Bono fan club. If you get a chance, Jim, we're waiting to see if you get both stuff from both Didi and I on the same day. You have to let us know if you do, or if you don't. Also, speaking of which, Jim has a stream tonight, 10 p.m. EST or 7 p.m. PST, if I'm not mistaken, for his latest episode of Hey Man, how's your movie going? And tonight he is going to have a good friend of his on. So super keen, super cool. Tune in and check that out, folks. It's such a cool thing to be able to find out how you make, how you actually make animations. There's a lot of people that, I got ideas, and then here's Jim actually walking through his idea generating process into execution. So it's kind of keen. But we were talking on the phone earlier today, Jim and I, and if you haven't heard Jim Luan do a Bono impression, something's missing. So I would hope that everybody that tunes into a stream tonight is like me sitting with excited anticipation of him to talk about making animated films while doing a Bono impression. It could happen. Nice. Yeah, it is a really good Bono. A really good one. And let me know if I got your times right, Jim. If I didn't, I'll correct those. I saw the pictures that Josh posted this morning, DD. Thank you for bringing those up. Those were fun. And Mr. Pate. It's fun, when you know people separate from one another, and then you get to see them together in photos and in images, and you're like, and it just completely blows your scaling out of the water of how tall you thought people were in relationship to each other. It's just an interesting thing, that. But Mr. Pate looked like his brother, and Mr. Lewin and Mr. Kimball. Also, Paul wears flesh-colored pants. I saw knees. If you want to get a good shot of Paul Pate's knees, take a look at Joshua Campbell's stream from this morning. Or I think he posted this morning. Maybe he posted last night. I don't know. Either way, I saw it. I saw some knees. That's all I'm saying. Those are my Michigonian knees, by the way. If that helps to clarify a little bit for the allure and the splendor of them. Okay, so back to my whole point at the start of the thing. Now that we've got some housekeeping out of the way, and mentioned about some people's streams coming up. Gary's got a cool one on Saturday coming up, and Frank is teaching a class on making zines. And man, there's so many things. DD's tomorrow morning. There's so many things happening right now. Bill's got stuff coming up. Craziness. All craziness abounds here. We've got lots of things happening with lots of folks, and that's exciting stuff. I started looking into something this morning from somebody's suggestion, and next thing you know, I'm setting the whole sucker up. Paul's brother handcrafts, customized homes, builds high-end cars. Oh my goodness. Talking Lamborghini level. Wow, fantastic. Gary will be talking with Marshall Lee this afternoon. What time's that, Gary? Ooh, and Gary has demons. Gary's got some demons. So what is it about writing comics that makes you feel fulfilled, Gary? The demons make me do it. Can you do that interview while doing a Bono impression, Gary? Have I mentioned that Jim does a really good Bono impression? Gary says it will be at 3 p.m. PST, 6 p.m. EST. Nice. Very nice. That's super. Everybody write that down. Take that. I'll be on Marshall's channel, so. Right on. It's got some really deep questions for you too, Gary. Like, how do you feel Bono would describe his breakfast? Might be stuck on this Bono thing right now. It might be me. It might be just me. Or that I'm really trying to get somebody to do a really good Bono impression tonight. So this is all exciting stuff. Lots of things happening all at once. Is anybody doing got anything in the works right now? Is there anybody that's got any other announcements that I'm missing here? I've got a workshop that I've been asked to do here in town. I've got some exciting development. I'll be teaching some physical stuff in person here in London, Ontario. I haven't done, other than a comic shop, I haven't done anything really in person for walking people through creative process. other than through the robot. So he says, "Cool, Christopher. What on this? Just writing stories, story writing." Thanks for asking, Didi. It'll be on story writing and allowing yourself just to get rolling on stuff. Like the gist of it is similar to what I talked about with Chris's class. Chris Kalue from Mexico. She had me talk to her class last week on the stream here for those that weren't here, and we talked about just creativity in your daily life. This one's talking about accessing the strategies in order to be able to follow through on the story writing that you want to do. And so it's exciting, very exciting. So, well, I'm excited, anyways. All right, so I'm drawing pinecone. Nope, chicken. It's chicken, and this is today's page is in 500 years. Scientists will finally discover what came first, the chicken or the egg. So, oh yeah, that's the big news. That's what I'm forgetting, Didi. For those that didn't know, Scott came back to YouTube today. Scott Circlin, folks. Circlin Circworks. Anybody? Please correct me. But it was great. Man, he's got some polish on that. He's got some shine on that shoe. Huh? There's just so many new things he's introduced, and Scott has clearly put some time and some thought into kicking up his jam. So it was a lot of fun to watch, and it's fun, really fun. He really walks people through the entire process of making stickers from home, collectible stickers. So is anybody surprised? Oh, sorry. Thank you, Didi. Circworks Art Labs is Scott's YouTube. Please go check it out. It is a really, really, really good video that he did this morning. Really highly polished and edited. Chop edits left, right, and center. It's like he's got, I count at least 3 cameras. At least 3 cameras he's bouncing between. So just, refined. So, and if you like Garbage Pail Kids type stickers, if you're of that age that you collected those growing up, you're going to love it. You have some fun with that. But he actually step-by-steps you through the whole process of making those, and super fun. A lot of people appreciated him being back. A lot of people have watched Scott as kind of like a staple for years now. So, and I am always going to be thankful of Mr. Circle because he brought me in, introduced me to everybody here, and it's really on the world of the YouTubes. So, oh, Jim, you too. Best recipe ever: pinecone chicken. Pinecone chicken, just the way that Mama used to make it. I don't know what your mama used to cook back in the day, but my mama used to cook pinecone chicken. And that's why our new recipe, let's do it, made with 116 spices and an entire brick of lard. We had a whole conversation the other day, myself and one of my brother-in-laws there. We were talking all about who has the worst chicken. Who has the best chicken is always going to be a debate, but who has the worst chicken is probably something people can bring their minds together more on. So we did. Popeyes, hand down. Popeyes wins. I don't know if you've been to a Popeyes, but I call it bag of grease. JD says, is that a green pencil? Yep. Yes, it is. His name is Charlie. This is a grass green from Color Race, from Prismacolor. My understanding is they're now discontinued. when I found out that they were being discontinued, I enjoy drawing with these so much that I went to a local store and I bought them. Which is, unfair. I realize that. I realize it's unfair, but we're only talking about like $14 worth of dollar pencils. So before I forget, this is yesterday's page. This is a drawn in green pencil, roughed in green, and then gone over in Fudenosuke pen and some white ink, and then some of the Faber-Castell brush markers. So. And this is the page that I got this far during the stream yesterday. I just didn't do the inking and then draw the final panel. And then the other page I did, yesterday afternoon was this one. So, which is the sneak peek I already gave you. Dee says, are color erase, all color erase or just green? All color erase, from what I understand from this brand. So, they've got a few different colors. So, there's some red, there's some blue, there's some purple, there's some pink, there's some dark green, some dark blue, light brown, you've got terracotta, there's a deep brown, there's a really light green, there's, that's actually just an orange pencil, but there is an orange color erase. So, yeah, so I picked up all the ones that I could find at that store, all the different random colors. So, Jim says, in the name of Popeyes, I rebuke you. Jim, maybe the American recipe is better than the Canadian one, but literally, the bookstore I was at, directly across a 2-lane street was the Popeyes. And in the time it took for them to get from that counter to the back counter at the front of the store, the bag was just sopping with grease. For a simple chicken burger, it was just pure grease. So maybe it's just the location. I've had Popeyes at a different location in London, and it was the same though. So maybe it's just London. I don't know if people have felt that outside of London and other places in Ontario. So maybe it's just Ontario. See what I'm doing here? Maybe the Californian chickens are different. There's no grease in California. None. Not an ounce of grease. You just back right up, chick. Jim, could you complain to me about Popeyes, though, in the voice of Bono? It's not about the chickens. It's about all the suffering in the world. No. You gotta hear Jim do it so much better. I'm really setting him up here. Okay, so Jim and I were talking earlier about, speaking of Mr. Luan, Mr. Rebuker, this topic I put out today, the Diddley Squad of Artistic Hopes and Dreams. Sensational, huh? What I mean by that is there's all these people that have all these aspirations, or I'm going to do this, or I want to do that, or I really want to get into this. And then there's, Jim and I were talking, and, a common thing that he brought up was that these people that'll be, I got this, and they come up with all these elaborate plans and these elaborate intentions. And I'm going to learn this thing, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to set up this space to be able to be this person and do those things. That's what I call the Diddley Squad of hopes and dreams, of artistic hopes and dreams, because at the end of the day, the more front line, and it's going to be error, and all this sort of talking yourself up and setting up all this preparation for yourself for the great thing that's going to happen, it's probably not going to happen. Because you've invested so much in all those processes and dreams about how it's going to be and what the outcome is going to be. And I'm going to get picked up and signed by Marvel Comics, and they're going to make movies about my chicken character in my comic book. And you're sort of setting yourself up for disaster with that, right? It's I'm not doing your question yet, Jim. One of them has to go away forever, crayons or watercolors. So the problem with these kinds of approaches to planning your projects is that you're never going to allow yourself to just do the project, to get into it. The more elaborate your planning is going to be, the more elaborate that you're going to start designing and making those pages, I'm going to finish the whole page, each page as I go. You're going to burn out. It's going to happen, because unless you're into some sort of rhythmic routine and you're sort of established pattern of this is how you do things, it's almost like setting yourself up to fail. And so that's why I say the second half of that sensationalist tagline today is celebrate the things that you're accomplishing today. Stop focusing on the 6,000 page epic that you're in the process of creating, and focus on the issue that you're working on now, the segment of it that you're working on now, the scene that you're in now, right? The page that you're on now. The more that you can just engage in the moment, the more that you're going to be able to appreciate, the steps along the way, the road to the journey. So if you can do that, if you can start to change your headspace on that thing and appreciate those smaller accomplishments as you go, then eventually, before you know it, you've got so much more done. And I really want to encourage that in people. I think it's something that I talk around, I sort of talk towards because I try not to be discouraging. I try not to be that guy that says, this is it, your life is over. But when I do say things like, you're setting yourself up for disaster and it's probably not going to happen, that's the pragmatic Chris coming out that says, because you're so overly engaged in A, B, C, D, E, you're never really accomplishing something. Or it's, this epic thing that a person will get a drawing done or something like that when they were planning out, a 2,000 page epic. Okay, great. I'm glad you got a drawing done. I really am. But at the same time, you've got people waiting for a 2,000 page thing. There's a joy in creativity. There's an absolute blessing that we have the affordance of opportunity in our lives, that we're not spending the entire day foraging for wood and cleaning the recently killed livestock in the backyard so that we can provide food for tonight, then have to prepare it for the rest of the week. All these processes that people have been going through for thousands of years. We don't live in that world right here in the Western world. And, there's an opportunity for us to pursue these, I often call egalitarian pursuits, to pursue these opportunities, to pursue these interests, to pursue the availability of time, materials, space, accommodation to some extent, whether you're working with inexpensive materials or you're not, drawing an entire 6,000 page book on typewriter paper. There's no rules to those parts. But you got to give yourself the affordance of recognizing and identifiably saying to yourself what is and is not feasible. And rather than defining the gigantic project in front of your face, rather than defining, the marathon that you're thinking you're going to undertake, so just start jogging, folks. I'm going to lose 1,000 pounds this year. Cool. Right after I finish this cake. That's the same kind of mentality, right? Nobody's sitting here with a gun at you saying you gotta, to do any of these things. But what you're doing to yourself is you're setting yourself up with that gun by saying, I want to be this guy. I want to get my entire self-satisfaction about my productivity, my entire self-satisfaction about legitimizing myself as a creative person is entirely incumbent upon the fact that Marvel's going to pick me up tomorrow, or my book is going to sell X copies as it releases, or you're suddenly going to be recognized as one of the greatest living artists in the country. Whatever. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Any of these things that are dependent upon so much external apparatus, so much beyond yourself, contingent upon the approval or the acceptance or expectation of others, you have no control over. You have no ability to control whether or not somebody recognizes you in some place or something, or somebody looks at whatever you're doing and says, hey, the thing that I read of yours, it changed my entire life. Well, that's lovely if somebody reads something of yours and says, hey, good stuff. That's nice. Celebrate that. Celebrate somebody said, hey, I read your thing. Cool. Good stuff. That's something to be celebrated. Hey, you got your book done. Great. Celebrate that. Hey, that's a cool page you drew the other day. Great. Whatever those things are as they come along, celebrate them, enjoy that moment, but keep doing what you do. Keep doing what you do. Keep pursuing that creative path. Keep finding the forms of expression that you feel called upon to do, you feel driven towards to creating, pursue those things. Complete those things, execute those things, and say, here they are, here I am, I'm good to go. I feel like I've got some kind of output and I can move on with my day. And great, but before you know it, when you get into the routine of that, that's when you've got some inroad, some direction towards what those lofty ambitions and goals were at the beginning. Because now somebody at one of these objective companies or something like that can look at the body of material that you've done, can look at the level of output that you're doing on a consistent basis and that you've got follow through. They can look at, the fact that there's something about how you work that's inclined to be accepted by the way that their company produces material. Whatever it is, you're going to find that opportunity come up because you've sat down and you've engaged in your day-to-day, and you've engaged in stuff in the interim. Good point, Chris, but you're really stalling because you don't want to choose between watercolors and crayons. It's not the point, Jim. It's totally true. Great talk, though, this morning. It's all about appreciating what you have now and working with it to better your future, not waiting. See, that's beautiful summation. It really is. And crayons. No, watercolors. Do without watercolors because you can water down. There's other kinds of painting materials, but watercolor or pencil crayons is pencil crayons. Or we talk about crayons, wax crayons. Gotta be specific, Jim. Because there aren't nerds involved here. That's a wonderful summation that Jim just did there. Because it really is about far less about what where I want to be and far more focusing on where you are. There's also this tendency, and let's specifically talk towards comic culture. There is this tendency to legitimize people that work on larger corporate gigs, people that are getting jobs doing comics, that are being published by ABC, and that legitimizes them as comic creators over others. You got to let go of that, because that's not true. Because the majority of people in North America, the majority of people globally, not just in North America, that read sequential literature, comic books, the top two companies are not Marvel and DC. The top two corporate entities that are related to comic books are Marvel and DC. That's entirely because of the films and the television nonsense. But the top two companies are actually Viz and Scholastic by leaps and bounds. And they do not do people in leotards slapping each other across the city. So, man, people got their underwears on the outside. You know what I mean? So, it's That's no way to get legitimized. But unfortunately, because of the fan-based nonsense we live with, that's the first assumption for most people, is to look at these mainstream companies for what their books are, and thinking that that's the set tone. There's so much fantastic stuff that I would recommend that doesn't come from either of those two. And it's kind of an unfortunate thing in North America that's the common predilection is to refer to those. And that to make matters even worse for the comic nerds specifically, the majority of people that like all of the Marvel and DC superheroes have never read a comic book. They have never read a comic book, but they are the biggest Captain America fan. So that's challenging, right? That's a hard thing to free associate nonetheless. But the reality, of course, being that none of it matters. It's also very arbitrary. It's about focusing on whatever your creative endeavor is in a moment. If you want to do a superhero book, draw a superhero book. You don't have to go to Marvel or DC to do a pastiche of one of their characters. You can do it yourself at your own home and create your own version of whatever character it is you want to draw. Don't wait for your potential future of working with those companies. You want to do a version of Spider-Man? Do a version of Spider-Man, but make it distinctly unique and different enough for it not to be Spider-Man. And they can't do anything about it. They can't, because it's your guy's your guy. If he's bit by a radioactive spider and he's a high school student and yada yada yada, you're doing all the same beats and notes that are in the Spider-Man book, you're a little too on the nose and you're going to get sued. But because corporate entities are litigious things. But if you want to do your version of Batman, then just draw whatever kind of fetishistic fascist and whatever outfit that you want, and beat up poor people in the alleyways. Any chance I get. Philip says something sounded like a Yoda quote. Let's try this. It's all about appreciating what you have now, working with it to better your future, not waiting. Yeah, Philip, you're right. It does. All I know is now I want to draw a chicken. Wait not. Use tools now, young Jedi. Never mind on where you are. Hey, what you doing? Yeah. That sounds familiar. Chris doesn't want to choose between Jim's question of the day because he's in the pockets of Big Payola. Big Crayola. Sorry, that was something you said a while ago. Yeah, but it works for Jim's thing too, doesn't it, Phil? Thanks, Deed. Gary says, I guess I'd give up crayons. While I'm no good with watercolor, it's some of my favorite art to look at. So there you go. I'm just saying that there's so many other medium out there that, you can emulate watercolor. Is it exactly the same? No. But there's enough methods and medium out there that you can get something similar to it, or just work with ink. The complexity is huge, though. So the difference of drawing with ink compared to watercolor is substantially different. All right, so we're about done. Are we? Go chicken. So in the case of what came first, on this page, it was the chicken. I say it was the chicken. Uh-oh, Chris made a boo-boo. See that? Erases right off. Beautiful pencil. Beautiful pencil. And they got a nice soft lead. If you can find some of these, do so. It does. It's done again. So, yeah, whatever it is that you're working on, enjoy it, embrace it, celebrate it. Allow yourself to look at you finish a page. You did it, buddy. Give yourself one of those, right? Give yourself a little clap in the ear. And, gosh, we did it. Whatever works. Like, just allow yourself that moment to find the celebration, that momentary celebration at least, but the celebration of having to accomplish something on the way to the larger goal. So, have the chicken holding a comb. What's the matter with you? One of my favorite jokes is we've been combing the countryside trying to find it, and it cuts away to it's in Spaceballs. Or we've been combing the desert trying to find it, and cuts away to a shot of a couple stormtroopers dragging a big comb across the desert. I am easily amused, I think, at some points in time. Okay, well, I want to draw another chicken, so let's do that. Is this in bad taste? Chicken usually tastes great. Yes. Okay. You see what I'm drawing? Do you get it yet? I've been fighting over a comb. Right? Yeah, that's exactly what they said. Oh, and it goes, yeah, because it goes over to a camera pans around. The other guys that say that are the ones that have the hair pick. Yeah. Have the chickens fighting over a comb. Oh, baby. Started this morning off by listening to Boz Skaggs. If you know who that is, you know it's kind of random to just start your day by listening to Boz Skaggs. That's just a lot of fun. So I'm drawing the other chicken right now, and before they start fighting over a comb. All right. Looks just like one. Huh? Fun fact, the guy with the hair pick is the same actor that was in Tuvok in Star Trek Voyager. Neat. That's cool. What was your first role? Combing a desert? So I'm just trying to emulate the luxurious skin color and of this chicken, and just try to get the right patina down here as I'm drawing kind of a golden brown kind of a tone, building up the. It's the same way I approach everything, like drawing weird shapes and spaces instead of just laying out the structure of a thing. So bear with me. It'll look like a chicken soon. And this way, the two chickens can be friends. Let's tell some chicken jokes, maybe. Put some feathers on there. Put some wings on this guy here, so they can fly. Well, maybe not fly, but you got the idea. This can be more of like a brown chicken, but this one's like a golden brown. Well, this one acts a little bit cocky. This one's very tender. Do this all day. It took so long to get to draw on this page because I need to come up with some chicken jokes. It's just like them. They look like twins. Philip is calling himself a complete nerd. I hate that other word. But it's appropriate. The term geek refers to an old circus performer that used to bite the heads off chickens. So with all of this nerd culture that's out there in the world right now, I always laugh when somebody goes, "I'm such a geek." Good to know. Good to know. Etymology, kids, it counts. This is the first chicken I drew. I know they look exactly the same already, but I don't want you to get them confused. This is our first chicken. That's the second one. Now, I know that Philip isn't a circus performer that bites the heads off chickens. Nerd means a person who has a proficient amount of knowledge on a subject. Everyone's sweating. The hot chick. This one's the hot chick. Automatically. This one's hotter than that one is. Huh? Because if not, it's not good for you. It's important that this one's hot. It's just important. That's all I'm saying. I mean, this one's got some looks to it. You know what I mean? Huh? You look at that and go, right? But this one, Foghorn Leghorn is still one of my favorite cartoon characters. I don't care if he's one of those ones that, has been dropped from Looney Tunes now because it's so inappropriate and gives people the wrong ideas. I don't care. He was funny. Run over to that dog, the doghouse, and he grabbed that dog up by his tail and smacked him with a board. And it was brilliantly funny to me. I just thought that, like, "Come here, boy!" He just drops him down again. The dog chases him, and always gets caught at the end of the rope. It's great. That one is dead. What? It is not. It's completely fine. I don't know what she's talking about. This one's fine. What was wrong with Foghorn Leghorn? All the characters did that. Foghorn Leghorn is a pastiche of a colonial plantation owner, right? So people find it disagreeable. Completely understandable that they do, but it's a cartoon character. And I find it very offensive. Can't help you. Now, Pepe Le Pew, it rings every bell. What? It's just a lover. It's just trying to find love. There are so many fantastic quotes that come out of Pepe Le Pew that you're like, yeah, no, that would not pass the HR's, proper behavior in the workplace class, that's for sure. This one's going to be pecking some grass. This one's going to be served with some. Yeah. Oh, I like when they fight. No? Huh? Oh, she likes to run away. Well, I like to run too. Everything Pepe says is wrong. And yet, one of my favorites. When I met my wife, here's a story for people that they might not know. When I met my wife, a funny situation had happened with a paint can, and she was walking underneath it. And boy, I chased her all over the city. Twins. They're twins. This looks like a 1980s toy. It's the new G.I. Joe scatter tank. Have all your characters concealed inside. Look out, Cobra, we're coming to get you. Just like one of those commercials, wasn't it? Huh? Seemed like the real thing. He says paint can, or I don't get it. Paint can chasing around city. It's Pepe Le Pew stuff. Every episode of Pepe Le Pew, a black cat would get a white stripe somehow painted on its back, and then oftentimes she would also be completely exposed to like the smell of the sewer or something like that, and so immediately Pepe would think that she's a female skunk, and being the lover, no, he would chase her all over the city, and she would constantly be trying to get away from him, which is entirely why Pepe Le Pew is not appreciated today and is considered to be grossly inappropriate, because it's sort of, for the sensitive types out there, it expresses all kinds of things about assault culture and stuff like that. So my point is this: no reason whatsoever should anyone wear any outfit that has a white stripe going down the back. You never know what's going to happen. In this world today, too many people have watched those cartoons. People got all kinds of wrong ideas from that. And you just don't know. Diddy's put up I missed the pew. Yeah, that's why they have chairs in most churches these days, because they just don't want anybody getting wrong ideas on any level. Here's a mind blower. Can you imagine if your name is Pepe and you go to a church and you sit down in the benches and you see someone across the church and think, oh, perhaps this girl is the one for me, no? Mind blower. Mind blower. Takes place in France. I love the character and design of Pepe. I was a bit disappointed they dropped him altogether. I figured they'd just change up his behavior a bit for future projects. I don't know. But I tell you, I've been traumatized, and I get triggered every time now somebody mentions him. Just because I miss him so much. I miss him. Yeah, we live in a pretty screwy society right now where you gotta remove a character like Pepe Le Pew, and yet some of the weird stuff they're putting in schools right now. Whew. Strange days. Strange days indeed. Most peculiar ones. Well, this drawing is not complete unless we bring in the second component. Well, what's that, Chris? Boy, am I glad you asked me. So, do I draw to scale or do I draw? No. Yeah. Yeah. Wah. No. This is just hurting his feelings even more, putting this over here in front of him as well. Still using this pink eraser because I still cannot figure this one out. I mean, I'm getting there. I'm going to keep using that joke until somebody comes and smacks this out of my hand. Boy, if only there was some sort of tool that we could use to just duplicate the drawing we just did to put down a number of big cups without having to draw them all the time. You've never seen an eraser? Dee Dee says she's never seen an eraser like that one. Which one? This one? Is it this one? Barney? Or this one? Rubble? With the cover. I know. It's such a pretty eraser. I look at this thing. It's gorgeous. 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 But it doesn't work for crap. Sharpen's a good pencil, though. The only eraser I've ever known that sharpened a pencil. Get the lid open on this. I don't come shavings all over the place. All right, so I've got some of the setup here for the table, and oh Lord, he's coming in with your the ruler. What's he doing now? Yeah, okay, that makes me happy. I'm very happy. Line up a little bit. There we go. Oh, a happy day. Where we at? There, an hour. Yeah, the cover one is really awesome. It's a Staedtler brand. It comes with an extra eraser, although I'm never going to use this one up. It's got two settings for your sharpener inside, and you open up the top compartment and you empty it. But it's a great sharpener, and I'm sure the eraser part of it's not half bad either. It's just cool looking. It's cool looking. All the artsy fartsy types get a little overexcited about. Look how cool that eraser looks. Oh, that's a hot looking eraser. I like the look of that one. So I'm going to, I'm structuring out the layout of the page in such a way as to carry the narrative across now. So I want the structure to be the same as it goes across, but I'm going to play a little bit with the dynamics of the panels. I like the idea of them moving around. Uh-oh, I just heard a cat drop. Someone's coming to harass me. It's probably Corbin. You can hear when the cats jump off the chairs in Lori's office upstairs. Or as they call it, the sunbathing salon. They're going to come and harass me. Harangue me. So I want to shake it up a little bit, though. Got to keep it interesting. So I'm going to cut inside on this panel for the borderline. I know. It seems like I'm gonna lose my mind, but it's okay. We're gonna get this down here. So there's, just to keep it more interesting, and to leave this little void of space above it and below it, and then to draw the confines, draw within the confines of this space here and put in the environment. But now I've got this leak over into this panel for that one, which carries the viewer this way. And I've got this leak over from this panel into that one, which carries the viewer this way. And so it just moves you along. It doesn't matter how big the sizes of the panels are. It's moving you along visually. You know, and if you can find opportunities to explore things like that, do so. If only they made one of those tools, somewhat spheroid, that a person could use for drawing plates and the like. All right. Good. There's a plate. You know what that means? Well, these chickens great. So I found this at the art supply store in downtown. I'm sure that if you look up on Staedtler's website, this is also, by the way, a Staedtler eraser. And in all honesty, I'm really happy that I bought a few of these, because this is a really good eraser. It's really great. There's no bleed. There's no impression of the color of the pink eraser as you erase things with it. But at the same time, because you have this wonderful sharpened edge all the way around it like that, because it's basically built like a guitar pick, it allows you to bend the eraser as you're erasing with it. Oh, so much coolness. I really recommend both of those. Do I know what they're called? Erasers? For the mat? Not so much. So here's our first scenario that we need to put in place here and draw an environment for our chicken. So I'm trying to keep a degree of consistency with each of these pages for the 500 years from now. So, you know, guitar pick eraser. Basically, it's a guitar pick. Never saw those either. Yeah, the first time for both of these for me. So I picked up a couple of each. And just because it's the kind of thing where, because I found them in another city, if they work for me, I have a problem where I'll go back and try. I want to find the things that I'm so accustomed to working with, and it's been years since I picked them up. Then I'll go back, and of course they don't exist anymore, right? So if there's something that's working for me, I will buy X amount of it, just so that I'm not one to be spending like I've got X amount of dollars, but you know, $2. This is $2. This is $3, and Canadian, which means it's a nickel American. Yeah, worth it. So the other part of these pages is that I don't ink them. I just scan the pencils. That's why I'm trying to keep my pencils nice and tight and not a lot of breakdown lines underneath and not a lot to have to erase, like this line here in the chest is going to bug me. But the reason that I try to keep the pencils tight as I'm drawing is so that when I do scan this, put it in the computer and transfer it over into black, the green line that I have here, and then I color those pencils. And that's what I've done with all the preceding 500 years from now pages. So there's one left to do after this, and that is scientists decide to clone all kinds of pointless animals that no longer exist and open a zoo of those. So it's paraphrasing it. Not actually its title. It's probably not even enough close to what its actual title is. But so I'm trying to find another comfortable position for a second so my back doesn't bug me. Just carrying this line through for the background environment. Now, if I wanted to get cheeky, then I want to leave this little separator line between the foreground character and the background environment. Just the tiniest thing, but it doesn't take much to force a perspective change on the viewer. So if I don't have the background environment exactly touching the foreground character, it does make them feel like they come forward a little bit. What was that, Chris? Oh. In relation to the thing that I was talking about in the earlier part of the stream, I get great benefit out of doing the one pages. And the reason that I do is because it allows me to get that itch out that needs to be scratched of getting so many pages done and produced. And, and feeling like I'm accomplishing something in my day-to-day. Now, I'm not expecting that everybody under the sun does things in the same way I do, let alone does things on the same speed that I do. People are faster, people are slower, doo-dah. But it is something to set up a mark for me, to feel like I'm meeting some sort of quota or meeting some sort of expectation of myself. And there's a benefit in that for me. So it allows me to not just get hung up on, like the other page that I showed, that I sneak peeked earlier in the today's video. That I did last night too. And the reason it came through so easily for me, and this morning I spent laying out the next page. The next page is as laid out as this one is right now. And it allows me to feel like there's some sense of expectation of myself that I got through today, because I got this at least a one page done for today and engaged with people, and I feel like I'm meeting those needs. But then at the same time, I feel loosened up and loosey-goosey and ready to go on these other projects that I'm doing and have to finish. I hate the business side of producing books. I produce books like a maniac, but it's a slog for me to do the business side of things. And so this is giving me mental health after spending X amount of time going through all the papers and I call it paperwork, but going through all of the pages on the robot, trying to set up the new Substack page. So, if you can find something like that for yourself, if you can find something that gives you a sense of equilibrium, then those objective goals that you have set for yourself down the road, whatever they may be, you want to work at a big name comic company, you want to draw a Spider-Man comic, whatever it is, In the meantime, set yourself those goals and patterns and habits that enable you to make your way along in that journey so that you can be in that place. Step up your skills by repetitively doing similar material, really take apart, deconstruct how other people that you enjoy clearly, liking these other characters, deconstruct how they go about doing them and see what the process of that is. So that might well inform your work and how you're doing your drawing so that it can help you get closer to those goals and ambitions. You're never going to get a job drawing the Smurfs comic unless you have an idea about how to draw Smurfs. Or more specifically, how to do storytelling in that kind of Belgian European comic storytelling way. So inform yourself, educate yourself, do all those little things along the way and celebrate those. Appreciate the fact that you just finished reading the first Dune book before you go just barreling into the second one. Whatever it is. Boy, I wish I could play music like the Beatles. Try learning a Beatles song, if that's what you want. Here's a chicken. I don't have a name for him, if anybody would like to name my chicken. Be weird. Call him the City of New Orleans. All right. So a lot of these little hits and elements along the way I'm trying to find. I've got some eggs and egg cups. I've got chicken on a plate with some garnish around it. I've got chicken in the yard. What's come first, this or this? We're on our way. So in this panel, I intend to have a scientist holding the egg, right? But in the first panel, I got to get down with some Corbell Johansson here and have him science. So brace yourself. That's what I'm going to draw. That's the last thing I'm going to try to put together here before the end of our stream. And then the bottom part of the page continues our structural narrative. So everything's moving also very subtle downward angle on the page. And so the final, the line here needs to carry through like so. And then when we get to, so ideally there's something that happens in this last panel that has this sort of a perspective to it. And at the same time, gives us this kind of a perspective. And see how it follows back through the plate so that it takes the viewer's eye back down to here. That's our objective goal. Can't have this panel overlapping this one because immediately the viewer's eye gets confused whether it should go here or it should go there. It's those little things that you learn over time. Figure out how those things work over time if you want to draw chicken comics. And only chicken comics. So let's get Corbell Johansson in here. This is the same science character that I've been putting on all of the pages up until now. So he's a bit of a nut. He's kooky. The cookie is good. I know that they're not. What have I missed? Oh, there's this. Diddy says, "I'm a king." It's I love the king chicken. I know that they may not be with us in house today, but I'd like to give a shout out to a few people right now. I gotta look them up. Because I really appreciate, and I want to get their names correctly, but there's some people that are in my feed that are just kicking it. Terry Brett is one of them. And there's some really great creativity. Beaufort Bell is another one. I'm going to take a page out of Dee Dee's book. Beaufort Bell is fantastic. They're doing some really interesting stuff. Please check out their page if you're not familiar with them. Terry Brett is another one. I haven't got Terry's pulled up here yet. Still just sort of scanning through all these different things I follow, and because people keep updating and the feed just goes through and through and through, and I'm absolutely terrible with names. I can't remember everybody's names, so just write them in. Hence the scanning. Okay, so this is another one. De Bielbeck is really kicking out some really interesting mixed stuff, and so check out De Bielbeck as well. And if you can see the name, DeBeilbeck. I don't want to go big. I want to go home. There's two more. Bear with me for a moment, folks. I just want to take this little aside for a second and showcase, because I'm really impressed with their they're kicking some stuff out. This is another one. This is Kathleen Daesch. I don't know how to pronounce this. So Kathleen, Kathleen Daesch. Kathleen's doing some cool stuff. Like that one here. Got a lot of goofy stuff on my stream. There's one more I was thinking of. Bear with me for a moment as I try to find it. No, that's De Bielbeck. This is De Bielbeck again. Gebeilbeck. And then there's Terry Brett 3 is the other name. TerriBrett 3. Oh, I thought I had 4, but there may well be the 3 of them that I was thinking of. Oh, and then of course, our friend Dee Dee. So yeah, if you get a chance to check out those people and what they're doing on Instagram, there's some fun stuff coming out. And of course, Rachel Fleming, her three-word prompt images that she's doing crack me up. Really good. All right, so I'm drawing our crazy scientist. Eyes out, eyebrows raised. He's got his safety glasses on here as he's gonna put this what do you call this? Telescope, stethoscope, periscope. Is there anything I'm missing? Magnifying glass. Is it possible I could possibly guess every wrong thing before I actually come up with a name? And so for anybody that's late joiners, before I forget, Gary Hodges will be interviewed tonight at 6 o'clock here in the Eastern Standard Time on Marshall's channel. Jim Lujan will be posting another stream of Hey Man, How's Your Movie Going at 10 o'clock EST. Philip may well be doing something tonight. I don't know if I saw any announcements for that, but yeah, what else? Gary, I'll be having a stream this weekend. I don't know if it was this weekend that I was going to join you, Gary, or if it was next weekend. I can't remember. So this is drawing the scope, magnifier, whatever it's called, whatever. Just shapes, whatever it is that you're drawing. Don't work yourself up about, well, I don't know how to draw that. Just look at it as shapes. You'll hit the epithetic moment at some point in your life where is there a eureka moment? I can't draw this thing, I can't draw that thing, I can't draw this thing, I can't draw that thing, and suddenly you realize from trying to draw X, Y, Z, you will suddenly be able to draw the other things. And you'll be like, I don't know why I made such a big deal about it in the first place. Because that's what we do. We focus on tomorrow and we forget to focus on the things we figured out to do today. In the course of those figuring out what to do today, well, we figured out that thing we need. We figured out that next step that we need to be able to do whatever it is that we want to do tomorrow. So, you know, it's tricky madness is what it is. I have to look up. I'm sorry, but I don't remember if Corbell had facial hair or not. And if I had done a 500 years from now, I have. I did the Peruvian one. That was the last one I did, I think. And for those that are unaware, I'll show you what I'm referring to. This is the previous 500 years from now that we did. And this is in 500 years from now, all the scientists will take a vacation in Peru. It doesn't end well. Generally, these pages don't end well. So, but there's Corbell Johansson. So that's really who I needed to look up here was this this crazy kid. So that's helped me. So now I remember, and he's got these fun little because it's the future, and in my sci-fi future, everybody has little stripes and colors and things on their faces as a cultural signifier. Like so many people today are getting tattoos at random. So back in my day, tattoos meant you were a rough customer. Nowadays, these all these kids got tattoos of willy-nilly. The thing that I can't get, and if you've got these, you know, you do you. Let me know what the real deal is. But I really don't get the whole black arm, black back, black leg thing. I really don't get the whole tattooing a solid black arm on your body. You know, just that's a lot of ink. That's a lot of expense to do that. And for what? It just makes it sort of like you're permanently showing people that you're indecisive. I don't know. Or really committing to the whole tattoo thing. There's probably some sort of cultural significance that I'm missing. If you know what it is, let me know. That's a qualifier, by the way. If one of your kids wants to borrow money on a somewhat, you know, an occasional basis, and then one day they come home, they got an entire black armband, you never have to lend them money again. That's a rule. Just hear about that. Crazy. Okay. What do you got? Got the turtleneck. I forgot about the turtleneck. Don't forget the turtleneck. going to put his science laboratory jacket. That was so fun today, by the way, in Scott's video where he let's get ready, and he puts on his jacket. Oh boy, the jacket's going on. Oh boy, it's a lot of fun. I think that I really wish that Scott had a young people's science show, because if there's a single person, or a young people's art show in the Science the Art Lab, because if there's a single person that would do really good with that program, that'd be Scott Serpent. Dee Dee says, heading out, cool drawings as usual. Thanks, Dee Dee. Hope you have a great day. We're wrapping up in a few minutes myself, so thank you for coming and hanging out and spending some time. I'll be populating the table with science doodads, and but in the meantime, let's finalize this expression. Get his arm up. Too far. It's all right. We'll fix it. There we go. So we've got his hands up. Raised up on both sides. I'm going to have his hand come through here. Oh, I could carry it over, but I want to keep some uniformity. And while there's bleed over from one panel to another panel in these 500 years later pages on the interior, I tend not to have a lot of bleed over that goes to the exterior lines. So I'm going to cut the image at this line that runs alongside the panel. Now my lines are going over as I'm drawing them, but that's just because I'm just, being a little over gesticulative in my mark making. So we'll get this down. Get his fingers up. Science! That's the idea. There's his first hand, and then of course his second hand will be appearing out of the backside of this chicken. So of course the trick to separate this image from that image is that the tonal palette has to change, so that the green of this scene and the blue of the lab, right? Light blue here, different greens over here, greens and browns, right? There we go. So there's our Corbell Johnson as his Johansson, I'm sorry, as he's looking at this fancy schmancy microphone that he's looking into and learning about science. So, the fun stuff, right? Hi, Fibs. What does Fibs mean, Riri? Hi, Riri. Riri has said, hi, Fibs. Bye, Deed. Okay, so I've got a number of things that I can populate this table with. And just go into that memory bank of yours. Go into that head of yours that remembers science class when you were a kid, or remembers science programs that you might have seen where scientists has different sized beakers. and draw those. Didi invented it. It's Friends in the Box. Oh, not fun. I've never heard of that before. So I'm going to draw a couple of beakers here. Just let me, give me a second here. Channel some science here. When you're drawing science, it helps to be inspired by scientists. So I'm going to draw some beakers here. So I'm just going to look at the source model and, draw it on the page. And yeah, I think that looks pretty close. What do you think of it? Yeah. Nerds. There's Nelson Honeydew, or Bunsen Honeydew, and Beaker. There we go. I like Muppets. Okay. Friends, not friends, plural. Okay. Lip on this one for pouring. So we've got some science ephemera around him. Don't draw everything on a straight line beside him, of course. Boring. And this is the kind of thing that really doesn't really matter much, because you're going to put text over some of these images, right? Can't be precious about whatever it is that you're drawing and hope that, the space for the text is just here. Don't do that to yourself. Draw the entire environment behind the image so that when you're in the process, the next stage of the process, and you're making sure your text all fits and everything like that, you have the ability to alter it a little bit. We've all done it. That is a terrible lip on that. There we go. Okay. Some bubbles. Oh, something's in there. Bubbly bubble. Okay, what are we at? 1:33. A few more minutes. Just a few more minutes here. I'm going to wrap it up. So I'm going to have a journal here behind him. Now, I bent the shape of the pad of paper that's in behind the beaker. I bent it. I warped it like so, because of how glass works, and it's going to bend that shape a little bit, right? It's funny, I've set this 500 years in the future, and I've got him using an old school clipboard. I don't know. Tell you what, just for you, I'll put a digital device here. There we go. All right. Okay, well, I'm going to wrap up for today. We're at an hour 35. Listen, so going back to what I said earlier, allow yourself to celebrate the things that you're doing now. Allow yourself to celebrate the pieces that you're getting finished in a moment, and the work that you're progressing towards. Don't set yourself up for these gigantic hurdles that you're just going to pressure yourself out of doing. Don't worry about that. It doesn't matter diddly squat. You're going to get a job at Marvel one day if you earn your way up to that position, if that's what your objective is. You're going to have some more recognition for whatever your creativity is because of the creativity you're outputting. Those people that get those things the other way, it's hollow. As soon as I drew my first picture, it got picked up right away. Hollow. It doesn't mean anything. There's no real value in that. A lot of the 90s creators that were exploded and are gone now is an exact example of it. So, yeah, allow yourself that. Find your creative journey and find your self-expression. I look forward to seeing what you're doing. I'm going to get this 500 years from now page finished off and scanned, and we'll get it colored and the text put on it. We'll get it out for tomorrow. And we'll be back at 2 o'clock for our stream tomorrow afternoon. I've listed a whole bunch of other things for you to go check out through the course of the day. Please do so. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now. Thanks very much, everybody.